Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Today we're looking at the Cobra Rage. So, the Cobra Rage was first released in the United States in 1990 and unfortunately was discontinued in 1991. This is the urban assault vehicle with devastating landmine dispensers, or a dispenser. Now, much like what we had seen with G.I. Joe having a landmine layer, this is Cobra's reactionary vehicle towards that, for the urban environment at least. Okay, so looking at all the wonderful pictures that we are provided here from yojo.com. Okay, so looking at a nice front view with the bumper out, given a little extra kind of added protection here. Uh, and having a rear view. Now, hopefully, I'm doing this in a correct form because we do have a turret underneath a turret here, and we will get to see this in just a few minutes here. So we have our main cannon turret, and underneath here we also have some like nice miniguns underneath there as well. Um, and one thing I did not see at first, but we will make sure that we have it in here, is we have a front minigun in the bumper area. So I'll have to make sure I have that added in there before we get to our stats as we look at how this thing is put together. So we have some different wheels here trying to help this get through whatever urban chaos environment it has created. And being a very low profile, it should not stick out all that much. Really trying to lend it to the ability to hopefully blend in. So uh, the concept here that we have here is fairly nice. Um, and then we also have a kind of launcher here um, as we get into everything. I'm looking at as a mini missile launcher, uh, something that you would the visuals I have in my little pea-sized brain here puts it as something that you would see off of like the Russian Hind helicopter. Um, Maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong, but that's the visuals I have in my mind thinking about it. And of course, we have four missiles, um, two on either side of the turret, and then two on the supporting arm for when that turret is raised up to give it a higher arc of firing in that urban environment that we are creating all the chaos in. You can see that we have our mine layer here in the rear, as well as the miniguns that are, like I said, on a turret of their own. So, it's an interesting vehicle. I don't know exactly how many drivers we're going to have here. We do have two different panels in the front that we can see. Part of me wants to say there should be two people in here as well as one person as the gunner because we're going to need someone else helping to fire all these different weapon systems, especially the rear mounted uh, minigun turret. I don't know who's going to be able to control that as well as everything else here. So just throwing that out there. I may have to change that just a little bit. We do have pegs on here, so if you have one of these, you can get six figures mounted all the way around. So it is a wonderful concept. And one of the things of my childhood always remembering about GI Joe, you just grab hold and jump on a vehicle and you're gone. Um, it doesn't quite work that way in the military, but or at least not during peacetime. Now, wartime, World War II pictures show people doing that very same thing, but in peacetime, it's a whole different world. So, kind of looking at all the different plates that we would have, and a nice picture to represent everything we have here. Now, I'm going to guess, and this is just my wild guess. We have a driver here underneath this front plate. This is just a passenger. Of course, he's uh, popped up, kind of shooting, as well as having and this is all some of the newer characters that we were getting at that time. So as Hasbro was trying to phase out a lot of the older characters in favor of trying to show the newer ones to try and get the newer ones sold, as we were bringing newer ones into the cartoon and the comics. All right. So, the easily broken and or lost parts that we have. The Cobra ranges 4 gray missiles, 4 maroon missiles, gray rocket pod, gray mini holder, and 3 maroon hatches are easily lost, unfortunately. So the Cobra Rage was also featured in some of the various media throughout the years. Most notably, we do have it here in the DIC uh, cartoon for the Series 2, as well as a nice commercial spot for it. I'm starting to think I'm going to have to rewatch a lot of the G.I. Joe so I can see some of these that, for whatever reason, I've just kind of missed. Um, but the vehicle mold was repainted and retooled. We have the Rage in 1990, in 1997, and then in 2010 we have the Fury. And of course, we're going to see the Rage here in 1990 and 1997, where it's been recolored into more of a black and kind of a grayish blue look to it. So, yeah. Okay, now the fun fact for this is when it originally launched, it was only $12.99. Just a wonderful thought of what this vehicle was at the time, and this to me would be a bigger vehicle to try and come out with today, but they could come out with this. I still say that for everything that Hasbro does, they should really release a lot of these in the 6-inch classified scale, especially these small vehicles. But instead of putting it through the HasLab, keep it simple, keep it more the basic vehicle like what we have here. Just upscale it, give it to us for a $50 price point, and go from there. I think they could very easily do that, especially with a lot of the smaller vehicles. And I think they would have a lot more of us, poor old ever aging children, wanting to pick them up. Now, I'm not saying that they couldn't go through the HasLab and come out with a deluxe version of these. I think that would be wonderful for those that have that ability to collect those. But for a lot of the us common people that we just can't afford that, that would be a wonderful thing. All right, so let's look at this in our D6 universe. So the Cobra Rage being at speed or scale, I have this at about maybe 40 feet. I don't know exactly how long I really should have this. This is a lot of weaponry, excuse me, and firepower for what we have here. So maybe it's a little long. Maybe thinking about it, maybe I should have it down to about 30 feet long. Uh, I don't know. It's just kind of one of those. I think we'll put it down to 30 instead. It's just because we have a nice big turret here and everything else. Just trying to think of how long this thing should be. We'll have it at 30 feet instead of 40. We have one driver and 2 gunners. So that the second gunner sometimes may not be able to shoot depending on how this is set up. With the turret down, I don't think they're going to have control of that anti personnel machine gun, or the as it's being listed as heavy repeating blaster in the turret underneath the main turret here. Um, so cargo capacity, not knowing exactly how heavy I should make this, we left that at a 80 kilograms. This is at full coverage. Ground altitude, of course. Maneuverability is going to be a 1D plus 1. Uh, Honestly, I don't know how well these tires are going to steer. I don't know. They look like they're fairly fixed. We'll just leave it as a 1D plus 1. But I did keep it at a fast movement speed, being something for an urban environment, something that is wheeled and we can try and get in there wherever we want to cause our chaos at a fast pace. I figured that that was pretty appropriate. We have a body strength of 3D. Having the extra armor, especially in the front, and we can see that there's some extra armor plates on the side and that. I think 3D would be appropriate. Not the most heavily armored vehicle in the world, but there again, something to be able to quickly get in and out and cause massive chaos for G.I. Joe to deal with. As well as something to throw out as, if you're taking over a area or whatever, um, quick sentry posts or rapid response vehicles or whatever as well. Okay, and apparently there, gonna move that over just a tad. All right, we do have twin concussion blaster cannons. That the cannons were considered as concussion um, cannons, so I figured it was appropriate to put it in there in that regard. These are at speed or scale. We have a fire control of 2D and a damage of 6D combined. We do have 4 missiles on board. These are at speed or scale. They're going to do 70 damage each. And we have a fire control of 3D plus 1. Keeping with that sense of these might be self guided, like a lot of the other missiles that we've been doing. I figured I'd leave it in that regard. Um, Make it a little bit easier for a fire and forget because quite often we do see with the G.I. Joe vehicles. Um, we have a lot of different cannons here and there, and you know it's got to be chaotic trying to control everything that you have abilities to shoot. So um, we do have the mines in the back, so I have 8 mines for us to be able to lay down. Uh, just throwing it out there, it's a fire control of 1D plus 1, damage of 9D per mine for anyone to run them over. We do have the dual repeating blasters. Now, these are the uh, miniguns, so they're going to be listed as being on a turret. Their personnel scale, fire control is going to be a 1D, and damage is 7D for the combined. And then we have the micro missile launchers, or micro missiles. That again is going to be at personnel scale. Fire control is going to be a 1D plus 1, and damage is going to be a 7D, but that's at personnel scale. And in the very front, which I almost forgot about because I didn't notice it at first, we do have the single heavy repeating blaster, and that's at personnel scale. Fire control is 1D, and damage is at 6D because it's only the 1. This is a very heavily armed beast for Cobra to throw out against G.I. Joe or any other forces that they would run into. um, it's an interesting concept. I like the concept of it. Very much like what we would see with the Striker vehicle in today's military. This is, say, like Cobra's answer to that concept. And this is done back in 1990. So I don't know exactly when the Striker came out, uh, but I see some similar thoughts in the design here. So it is an interesting take on it. And quite often, I think that's some of the things that they had done because you look at what the military is doing, and you kind of take your imagination from that point and go from there. So, with that, thanks for stopping by. It's always wonderful having you here. Thanks for putting up with me with my cold. Still fighting through it, but we're going to keep videos going out as often as we can, trying to keep them going out every day. And we'll kind of go from there. Hope you're having a wonderful day. We'll see you in the next video.